remember. Solids is geometric. When in math they talk about solids, okay, they are basically and simply just talking about three-dimensional shapes. A square is not a geometric solid, but a cube is. And we got some simple ones that we're going to talk about here. Give you a little drawing lesson here. The first one is a cube. You know, if you're going to draw a cube, just start with a box. And then draw another box, same size, off to the side. And then just connect the edges. Now it helps if you kind of put some dashes for the lines that you can't see because it's the back behind stuff. But that's the basic gist of a cube. The rest you can see. Okay. That is a cube. And a cube, what makes a cube special is that it is made up of all sides are squares. Otherwise, it ends up being, if it's not all sides are squares, and it's actually made up of all rectangles, then that shape is what we call a rectangular prism. Really, we usually call this a box sort of shape.
How do you draw the rectangular prism?
Same way you do a cube. You can start just by doing this. Draw a rectangle, and then behind it draw a same identical rectangle, and then just connect the corresponding corners. Just that easy, isn't it? Not that difficult, is it? But again, like I said, the lines you can't see usually we do it. Sometimes we shade them in a little bit, so you can tell the difference in the sides. This is like the front, and this is like the top, and this is like the right side over here. Helps you see it just a little bit better. But that's not to be outdone, children, we have what are called pyramids. What would be the difference between a pyramid and a prism? Think about the pyramids that you see out in Egypt. What little distinct fact do they have? Ways they
don't all have the same shape on all sides.
True, true, and true. However, you can get a little bit more specific. Although the pyramids in Egypt, I think, do actually have the same shapes on the side. The bottom might be different. Right?
There's two kinds of shapes in Egypt.
Yeah, but I'm looking for something a little bit more specific here. For example, here are two examples of pyramids. What do you notice about them if I had to give you a characteristic? Jackets?
The pyramids are straight instead of other cones.
You're thinking way over Lincoln's faith.
Like equilateral. They're pointy.
Thank you. There come to points. That's all I was looking for there. And a pyramid is named for the shape that makes up its base, its bottom. So this, and let me show you how to draw the pyramid. It's not that hard. This would be a square pyramid because it's the square on the bottom. So you kind of have to think three-dimensional here. You start with what kind of looks like a square. Okay, and it doesn't look like a square there because I'm looking at it like it's on the side here. Then you take your pencil, put a point kind of straight above it, and then connect that point to all the other corners of that thing. So this goes down here, this goes there, this goes there, and this goes there. And that shape right there, again, it helps a little bit if if you kind of color this in a little bit here.
Oh, that's cool. Mine's tilted.
You could, you know, and you can draw a pyramid with any base. For example, a hexagonal pyramid would look like this. You'd start with a hexagon. You gotta think a little three-dimensional here. Put your point up there, and then you have to connect that point to every other point on. When I was a kid, we had a playground. They won't let you do it anymore because they're too dangerous. It was called the witch's hat, but that's all that was this little shape here. And with this shape, there'd be a pole in the middle that just went straight down, so this thing on that little point was all the thing, and it would flop back and forth, and you could knock people off and fall off.
I want to.
They won't let you do it anymore.
Why?
Huh? This would be because it's too dangerous. It's just like you can't have teeter totters anymore because somebody's gonna get hurt. All you kids that got real crazy with that.
Well, you people got hurt back in the old
I know, we
days.
pretty much enjoyed it. Alright, enough of that. So now we've got a cube, a rectangular prism. We've got this, which is a square pyramid. The pyramid comes to a point. Then we have a couple more. We've got a cylinder, which is a can-shaped thing. Basically, to draw a cylinder, you just start with the same shape on top as on bottom, kind of two ovals, and then you connect their bottoms,
Oh,
their
that was easy.
sides. Again, we usually do this as kind of a dash line because you can't see it. That's a cylinder or a can. A cylindrical pyramid, which we don't ever say because it's, I don't even know if it's a word. What do we call that if it's a cylinder that comes to a point? What is the name of that shape? Yeah, that's a cone. And then the last one we have is, most people really like, a ball, a sphere. But it's pretty tough to draw a three-dimensional shape that looks like that. So kind of what people do is they do a little dash line that kind of goes around like this. And for some reason that kind of gives it a three-dimensional shape. A sphere. It kind of makes it look like it's coming out at you a little bit, but it really isn't. It's kind of flat there. So those are our three-dimensional solids. A couple things we have to label here is that we have things that are called faces. A face of a solid is nothing more than its side. So like if you were looking at this, well, if we were looking at this shape here, the faces, this has 6 faces. You can't see 3 of them. But you've got this front, that's a face, and there's a back there. You've got this, which we call the right side. You've got a left side, and you've got a top and a bottom. This has 6 faces. All prisms and cubes have 6 faces. Now, Mr. Square Pyramid here does not have 6 faces. It only has 5. It's got its base and then the 4 shapes that make up its sides. My hexagonal pyramid had how many faces? It's got 6 that go around the sides and the bottom. This has 7 faces. And then with solids, also we talk about vertices. Well, no, I guess we don't. Do we call it vertices?
Vertex.
I don't see. Does it say that in this chapter though? Let's do this first. They do talk about vertex. Let's do that. A vertex is nothing more than a point. So if you're looking at vertexes of this shape, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 down there that you can't see, 5 right there, 6 right there, 7 right there, and 8. This shape has 8 vertices. One singular one is called a vertex. How many vertices does a cube have?
8.
8. Rectangular prism,
8.
square pyramid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A hexagonal pyramid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we do talk about edges. What is an edge? Sedges have edges. Edges are the place where two faces meet. It's that line where it's kind of like the corner. I don't want to say corner because that gets you kind of, it's the corner edge, I guess. If you talk about this rectangular prism, it has 1 edge, 2 edge, 3 edge, 4 edges, 5 edges, 6 edges, 7 edges, 8 edges, 9 edges, 10 edges, 11 edges, 12 edges. 12 edges. The number of lines it takes to make the shape would be how many edges it gets. A square pyramid, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 for all the edges that come around the side. We talk about the edge of the table and all that sort of stuff. So those are your edges. Let's see what else they can ask you. They'll ask you what's the shape of a basketball, to which you won't say it's a circle, it is a sphere. An ice cream cone is the shape of a brick.
Rectangular prism.
Rectangular prism. They will ask you something like this. Let's write this down here. So let's say you've got a rectangular prism that looks like this. And what they'll do is, in order to talk about things, they will label it like such, H-I-J-K, H-I-J-K, L-M-N-O, L-M-N-O. And here's a question right out of the book. It says, name a pair of parallel segments. Okay, remember when you do this, there are a bunch of them. You have to put the line over above what you're talking about. In other words, let's say, and there are gazillions of them, this KL is parallel to JB. So you would write KL, put a line segment above it. It doesn't have arrows because that says it's a line. It is a segment. And JD. And you have to put that little line above it so that somebody knows that it's a segment. That's one choice. You can say LO. And yeah, you could do MN. You could do LO with KJ or HI or any of those, but make sure that you label them as such with those lines at the top and in front of them. And now, yes, on to our next lesson, which is